Oh, there we go.
Oh. Hello, how are you?
Hello, doing well.
Good.
Hello, hello.
Hello, Allison.
Hello.
Like, trying to get.
We actually have somebody here. I'm sorry. Is it
Glenn.
Glenn? Glenn, we have Glenn. He wanted to sit in on a
Oh, Glenn,
housing
hey.
advisory board meeting. He I guess he applied, right? He applied for the board.
Yeah, and
he got a letter into the city.
Yep, and he's attended a meeting before, so I did put a recommendation in for you.
Yeah,
Okay.
Kristen said that she's trying to get with you, Allison, to attend the city commission meeting in November, that both you and I are supposed to be there, kind of thing. It's a new process, she was saying.
Oh, I see, on the 18th,
Board
I
members,
think
so.
it said. Okay, good. Sorry for the confusion of the meeting.
Oh, no, not a problem at all.
You're good just sitting there, I know.
Zoom's great. I did, yeah.
There might be another person, Fred, that's joining. I think she's joining by Zoom, that was interested also in the HAB. And I sent her the link.
Okay.
That's exciting.
Yeah. Do you see another person? And again,
yeah. Anna Allen?
Anna, yep.
There we go. Okay.
Hi, Anna.
Hi, it's Allison.
Hi, glad you can make it.
Yes, ma'am. I did get to leave work a little early. They're and I actually just let you know, go by my middle name, which is Rebecca. Sorry about not letting you know that.
Okay, got it. Awesome. So we'll just have you, we're gonna wait. I'm waiting on one other person, and we'll just sort of have you again. There's someone at the in person there at the
Yep, here at the city hall.
Glenn, who was interested in the board as well, and we're on a path for that. But Rebecca, you can just sort of listen in and see what you think, and then we can connect later as well.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Yes. And we're just waiting on Amy.
Oh, yep, she just joined.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, we got the agenda messed up a little bit. We were trying to make it online only, but apparently you have to go in and change the whole header and everything like that. So we weren't sure how to do that. So
That's okay. And I really, like I said, I could have popped in. I just knew it was going to be a small group, and everybody had something going on. So
yep, this works out just fine.
So thank you. So thank you, everyone. I'll go ahead and call the meeting to order. It's 5:31. I have Crystal Carr and Amy Mock here as members. Michael Quintana and Aaliyah German are excused. And then we have two guests joining. Glenn, who has attended a meeting before and has submitted his letter of interest for the HAB, and I've added my recommendation for him. So November 18th, I think we go to City Council for the official vote on that. So that's wonderful. And then we have Rebecca Allen here, who's sitting in. She had sent in a letter and just wanted to sit in on a meeting and see, again, if she thinks it's a good fit, and then she and I can talk, later as well. So,
Awesome.
so thank you. So, did everyone get the agenda, or do you want me to pull it up? It's really simple today. Our agenda is, we'll approve minutes, and I don't know if we'd received any minutes.
No, I don't believe we received any minutes. I apologize for that.
That's all right. We'll just, on our next round, we'll have a few different months of minutes to approve. So we will table that. And then our, let's see, agenda. So let me get back to it. All right, call to order. All right, public comment on non-agenda items. Do we have anything that's non-agenda? Our agenda is to talk about our 2025 goals, and kind of a recap of 2024. No, I don't think anybody.
No, I don't think so. We don't, and no, yeah,
Other.
no public comment. No other public has showed up.
Okay, good to know. All right, so we will just go ahead then and get into the 2024 conversation to find out. Amy and Crystal, what you all have related to. I'm trying to pull up.
Yeah, and I can, if you want, I can pull up the PowerPoint, the presentation from last year.
Okay, that'd be great.
Let me share screen. Okay, can everybody see this?
Yes.
Okay, so this is the presentation. Let me pull this up. So this was the presentation that was made by Housing Advisory Board to the City Council last year for 2023 accomplishments and the budget, as well as your 2024 goals. So, and we'll do a similar one this year for November. But I suppose as a recap, you identified last year's accomplishments, which included opted into Prop 123 and preparing an inclusionary zoning memo to the City Council. And then you identified housing, the 2024 goals, which included begin work for on Prop 123, continue the energy efficiency rebate program, identifying community conducting community education on resources, and participating in the Plan Manitou process.
Yes.
And then the last one, this was the budget request from last year for this year. And just so everybody knows, we've been asked to keep our budgets flat. So this request is going to remain the same for 2025, with $5,000 for education and training, keeping the $10,000 energy efficiency program funded, and then about $3,100 in event and education materials. So that should not be that's in the proposed 2025 budget right now. So
Can I interrupt for just a second? I'm sorry. There is a message from, I think, Aaliyah saying that she's still waiting for her host to start seminar.
Oh, Aaliyah's on the call?
Or I just saw it at 5:36.
Oh, so is she, can you see
I'm-
her on there, Frederick? Was she in like waiting? I don't know what I did with my phone.
Can you see?
Her number starts out at 607.
Attendees just.
Is that correct?
Yeah,
Like,
it's
I
probably
don't-
her. Let me look on my other
Okay.
phone, but I wonder if that means she's just waiting on the thing there.
Okay, yeah, because I don't see any other attendees
Yeah, we can invite.
here.
Hmm.
Let's see. Oh, wait, let's see. Oh, it's Nancy. She says mine is still saying waiting for host to start seminar.
Maybe the wrong link.
It might be the wrong, she might be on the wrong link. Let's
Yeah,
see.
there was a updated link that was sent out, I think, yesterday.
Okay, I'll just let her know.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
used the link from the webpage.
yeah, we're using the link directly from the web, from the city's website under the, for the HAB, for the HAB, Zoom link.
Okay. I'll let her know.
I don't know how to get that to her.
Okay. All right, hopefully she'll be able to get on. Yeah, that was Nancy, so.
Yeah,
All right, well, we'll hopefully she'll be able to get on through that city link. So I guess we just need to, Crystal and Amy, we need to think about like when I go in, Amy went with me last year, which was nice. She just sat with me and I presented, but basically I would go in and I would talk about, you know, the achievements. Did we achieve these things that we said we would do? And a lot of them aren't really like firm, because we were all
Yeah.
just like beginning to work, continue to, you know, do the energy, look at education. And I mean, we really, like with Amy,
Yeah, Amy's done all the work.
Amy, you've carried the load. And so I know like with Amy, like I would want to know how many articles were written, and then we'll, you know, recap like the headlines for each of them. I mean, you, Amy, you had one for everything we had originally agreed upon when we had our retreat.
yeah, and you can definitely identify any accomplishments that were not part of your goals, obviously. So
Yeah.
we can identify. I think one of the accomplishments would be you made a recommendation on a potential apartment
Yes.
complex proposal, so we can include that under accomplishments.
Can I ask a question real quick? Did we meet Zachary last month? Because I don't remember.
Oh, I don't.
I was like, can we have an introduction to Zachary?
Yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, Zach Davison is our new planner. He's our planner one, and yeah, I think he attended last
Okay.
Yeah.
last month's meeting, but it was probably he was probably overshadowed by the proposal, the apartment complex proposal.
Oh, yeah, the big presentation.
Sorry, I will try to do better at remembering.
That's all
No.
right. Amy, I mean, and Amy wasn't there, so she hadn't met Zachary, but yeah, Zachary was sitting next to Chelsea at
Yeah.
last month's meeting.
But as we're kind of reorganizing.
Oops, did I freeze?
I can see you move, Allison.
Did I freeze?
No, I
folks
think
on our
it's,
staff were Zach.
Oh.
There we go. But yeah, Zach will most likely take over as be the liaison for the HAB. And Chelsea is the liaison for Planning Commission, and then Aaron Ringsred is the liaison for Historic Preservation Commission.
Okay.
So,
Good to know. So yeah, so I think when we talk about like our achievements, if those were our goals, we have done, I think, some good work around that. I mean, we had the presentation, right? We had DOLA come in, right? That was in that was in this year. Everything sort of blends together, but
Yeah.
yes. We had the DOLA team come in and present to us, and like I think I met, well, not I think I met, but I met with like the URA about some opportunities in that zone. And I think that's sort of what maybe led to last week's presentation.
We also met with the new housing group that is for El Paso County. It's not just
That's
Colorado
right.
Springs.
You
That was back
did, you
in
did that.
May.
Yep. You met with Jill Gabler and the Pikes Peak
Yeah.
Housing. Yep, that's right. So it sort of like developed a relationship with her.
And she's more than happy to come in and provide trainings to the board, and city council, whatever we need.
That's right. And then Crystal, you and I attended, again, I think it was Jill, at least I went to that one too. And then we went to some other like affordable housing developers that came to the Kiwanis meeting.
Yes.
Also, we aligned our rebates with CSUs.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
Aaliyah would say that.
Good. Yep. We did that.
say that again. You did what?
All of our energy efficient rebates, we voted to align those exactly with what Colorado Springs and Colorado Springs Utilities offers currently, so that we are exactly across the board in the Pikes Peak region for rebates. And so that did take some work.
Okay.
Do you know how many applied for the rebates?
I think early on we had a couple that might got kicked back and because they didn't meet some of the requirements. And I think that's why, Amy, is it my thinking correctly? That's why we had tried to align them more closely so we didn't have to do so much like digging. Is that right, Amy? Why we were doing
Well,
the
and
alignment?
also because we were saying that they had a proven tactic, and a lot of we were basically having troubles. Hi, Zachary. Hi, or Zach. Is it Zach? I don't know.
Yeah, exactly.
We were having trouble actually getting participation. So we were thinking that if we aligned with them, because a lot of the consumers, some of the research that Aaliyah found was that the consumers make the decision like at the store, was what we had found out. And so we said, if we align with Colorado Springs, then that just like makes it the same across the region. And then that would hopefully spur some more applicants, but I don't think we've seen any. But that doesn't mean we won't.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
think the second step that we had talked about doing was Colorado Springs Utilities has like a pamphlet or information sheet at all of like at Home Depot and those big box
Yeah.
providers. And so I think we were also gonna like see if we could put on, if you live in Manitou Springs, we have similar, to do some advertisement.
That's right. Yes. So yeah, so
Well,
that's
it was actually me. I was tasked with contacting CSU,
Yes.
finding the data that whatever their sales flow, or I'm sorry, participation flow was
Mhm.
working, funnel. And I haven't heard back from them. So I need to ping them again.
Yeah. Yeah, they have the benefit of advertising on their bills and through email. So it's probably a little easier for them.
Yeah. But yeah, that alignment, and that was, I think that is a good thing because we were realizing that like, that's what people like when they go to Home Depot and they're trying to picking out a product, they can see like, oh, that's something I could get at Colorado Springs. But again, if it's water related, then we're like, yeah, that you can get that at Manitou.
Mhm.
So we did the alignment. So then maybe our goal, this is just
For 2025.
could be
to do the
25
next
to
step.
continue to like develop, really like market that. Because we still have, yeah, we could, Amy can try one more time, see what they say, but it's not, we can definitely just move that on to, again, continuing,
Mhm.
continuing to market that energy efficiency rebate program.
And is it for water heaters and things like that?
Yeah, so it's because if you live in Manitou, you don't qualify for like Colorado Springs utility water rebate. So that's what that money, we had some money left over from kind of an initiative that we had with Brothers Redevelopment on doing energy efficiency upgrades in Manitou residents' homes. And then in the second year, they decided that they didn't want to continue sort of that partnership just because I think the costs sort of were outweighing the benefits. So then we voted to have that rolled into like our own sort of energy efficiency rebate program where um, homeowners specifically, because I mean, it could be renters too, but it's whoever has where it could be hard with a renter is the renter doesn't really necessarily get well, I
Sorry.
spend all this money and I do the upgrade, the rebate goes to my tenant's water bill, not mine, unless we want it to be for renters to help so that renters are less burdened, with high utilities, but maybe a landlord would be less willing because the rebate would go to the tenant. So that was sort of some of the things that people were saying that also you have to get a permit and then well, not a permit, but you have to pay a use fee. Like Manitou's got a lot of little things that in order to get the rebate, it's a lot of work. And I think some people have been like, it's not worth it. So we need to reassess that. And I think that will be our goal for, if you, Crystal and Amy agree, that could be our goal again for 2025 is to really reassess the energy efficiency rebate program and how we can get it to be utilized. And I don't know if the city would even like, once we deplete that money, I don't think the city's gonna like refill it. So we would either have to apply for additional grants or just say that it was a one and done thing. I don't know. And maybe that's what we decide in 2025, especially since we're gonna have some new potentially new HAB members. One had told me that they have experience in grant writing and, who knows, maybe we do want to work on that.
Mhm. Well,
Sound good?
and we can definitely, we're in the middle of redoing our planning department's web pages, and we can definitely find ways to do a better job of promoting the program and making it more visible
Okay.
from our perspective.
I was just gonna say, I looked it up because I wanted to provide a link, but it is kind of buried. Like when you go to I want to, there's not a place that says I want to apply for a rebate.
Yep.
Okay. Yep. So yeah, we'll add that to our sort of our goals of getting that, working with planning and updating some of that. Awesome. All right. So let's see, back to just accomplishments. So yeah, we met with HUD and DOLA, met with the Pikes Peak Housing Network, attended some housing developer meetings with Kiwanis, met with URA. That was really to talk about like Prop 123 and like the ways they could market. I know I say that, but the URA isn't really around anymore, right? Am I being clear on that, or is that
No,
misinformation?
no, the URA still exists. Yes,
Okay.
absolutely.
All right. So yeah, I'd met with them to talk about um opportunities for Prop 123. They had asked me to try to get some kind of literature that they could give to people that were considering developing in that area. And I had reached out to DOLA and they said that they didn't have anything. So that also can be something we can add to 2025, is to continue to um like I don't know, either develop or acquire like, I don't know, some kind of, I don't know if the word like literature or something to that the URA could give to someone to say, hey, if you think about, develop in here, here's options that might be available. Does that make sense? Is that the right sort of word?
Yeah. Or acquire literature, acquire information, have information accessible regarding
Yes.
Prop 123.
Okay.
Maybe that's something.
And maybe that could even be part of a website too.
Oh,
A
yeah.
place that we can direct people instead of actually having like a piece of paper, right? Like a,
Absolutely. Yeah, all of this can be put on.
okay.
And the Housing Advisory Board you have a web page of your own, and we can populate that with things that we think are important to get out.
All
Absolutely.
right. And then the community education, I mean, a big, huge piece was Amy and your writing.
Yeah, I just looked it up. So it's been 9 submissions so far,
Okay.
bulletin, and I'm just gathering the headings for you, Allison.
Okay. And you can send them my way. That's
The
awesome.
first one was empowering Manitou Springs with Colorado Prop 123.
Okay.
So we can check that community education off.
That's awesome. Great. So yeah, that's been so we have accomplished as much as I feel like we hadn't, and then participate in the Plan Manitou process. I know we had spoken at our retreat about helping planning with the Plan Manitou process. And I don't think we really did, because I think we started and then a little bit with the prior planning director. And then it sort of got probably put on a shelf and we didn't revisit it again.
Yeah, I think we never had the opportunity, I should say, we didn't make the opportunity um, to, I guess, discuss the progression of Plan Manitou with the board, now that I think about it. And so when we went through the public engagement process over the summertime, we were the Plan Manitou consultants and us as staff were pretty focused on that public engagement and engaging in, well, let's see, yeah, the public engagement as well as the working groups. There's a number of working groups that have participated, and then most recently we held a working session, a joint working session with Planning Commission and City Council. But yes, that hasn't been on the agenda. So no, we missed the HAB. We didn't, and at the very least, what we can do is we can give you updates on Plan Manitou as we move forward.
Yeah, yeah. And I think with Hannah, like what we were doing, it's because we sort of were like, I think when we were thinking of like goals, like again, we didn't want to like overwhelm planning. And we were like, well, if you guys are working on this, then maybe there's some things that we could help with. And then again, we took the summer off, so you guys, I know, were busy with a lot of that Plan Manitou stuff during those times, so with the public engagement, so.
So what we can do, now that I think about it, so right now, now that the first round of public engagement is done, our consultants are preparing a draft, an initial draft, and then we'll go through another round of public engagement after the new year. It'll probably be in January, February timeframe. Once we have that draft, what we can do is at least I can make that an agenda an agenda item for the board, and we can at least look at some of the goals and strategies that are in the draft for related to housing.
Yeah,
And,
definitely.
and discuss that and see if that those are headed in the right direction, or if you want to make any recommendations.
Yeah, that'd be great. Because I did attend one of those sessions. And I think it was like, who was it? Um, where's it? Who was in the place before Zachary?
Oh yeah, Ethan.
Ethan, thank you. And he was working like sort of the section that was related to housing. So it would be curious to know what the public did indicate as areas of priority.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So yeah, let's plan on doing that.
Okay.
And I'll make a point of that once when we get the draft, and we can take that to one of your meetings, one of the board's
Okay.
meetings.
Amy, did you have your hand up? Did I miss something? Okay. All right, Crystal, anything else you can think about for like related to any of these things of 2024?
No,
Yeah.
sorry.
No, you're good. And then yeah, we did the Amy last month we did vote 3 out of 4 to write a letter of support for a housing rental housing project that is being potentially proposed for the LaFun property. And I'll make sure we share that. We sent it off to you all. I think, Frederick, did I copy you on that? The
Yep,
letter, okay. So that gets, what are the steps then now for that with that letter? It just goes to planning?
that letter would be an exhibit would be an exhibit in future in future I guess the development requests for the um, for the for the project.
Okay, so it doesn't yet, just kind of sits with their packet.
Yeah, so so right now, let me think. Right now, a variance application has been submitted, and that will go and that will go through. We'll see what happens with that application, if it's approved or not. And then if it's approved, then they would be applying for, I believe it's a major development plan. And in that major development plan for the project, your letter would be an exhibit. Your letter would be part of that packet.
Okay, because I know we wrote language in there about supporting the variance, so it wouldn't go to planning commission. Like if planning commission
Oh,
voted no,
okay.
does it just stop, or does it still get to go to city council?
Well, I want to be careful. Yeah, so there is
Oh, is Nancy on the call?
yeah, Nancy's on the call, so we want to be careful not, we can definitely talk about process. We can't talk about
Yeah, just process. So when
substantive
someone
nature.
writes a
If
letter,
if somebody, let's take LaFun out of this. If somebody were to apply for a variance and to the planning commission, and it were, and regardless of the planning commission's decision, somebody could appeal the planning commission's decision to city council.
I see. Got it.
Whether a variance is approved or denied by the planning commission. Somebody could appeal it.
Got it. Okay. Got it. Got it. All right. All right. So yeah, I think we have, I wrote, met with HUD and DOLA, met with Pikes Peak Housing Network, developed a relationship, and Jill was great. She gave me some pointers to ask last month, so that was really helpful. So we are using her as a resource, or that group. Attended several sessions with Kiwanis Housing Development, and then another Pikes Peak Housing Network meeting. I met with a URA to talk about Prop 123 opportunities. We voted to align the energy efficiency rebates with CSU. Amy submitted and was printed nine article education to the Pikes Peak Bulletin. And then we wrote that letter of support. So I think that's a lot. That's a good job. Way to go, everyone. So then the 25 goals is, again, to just continue the development and acquire like literature or platforms, web-based platforms for more Prop 123 ways that people can access those. And then I wrote increase rebate program, again, the marketing on the website. And then maybe we can talk a little bit more about, would we want to continue it? And like, would we like write a grant? That would sort of be something we'd have to talk to Aaliyah a little bit about that money and what that could look like.
Sorry, a grant for,
Like if we wanted to continue having like a Manitou energy efficiency program, like I don't imagine, I mean, would that be something we would go to city council and ask for like at the end of next year? Or like, I'm
okay.
just wondering if we put all of this work into this energy efficiency program and then people utilize it and we run out of money, it would just be something I'd want to talk to the HAB about. Then what do we do?
Okay. Yeah, that's a good question. If you wanted to continue the program, you'd have to find money from somewhere.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so
Depend-
that would just be part of like, I don't know if that's a goal, but the goal definitely is to spend the rest of the money and get it marketed. And we could have a little side thing about, would we want to, you know, how could we refill it? Or is that even something we want to,
Okay.
focus our time on? Yes, Crystal.
I would like to have us bring in, I think, Randy Davis from El Paso County. I was in a different meeting with her and she was sharing that there's some, I'm not positive if they are rebates or waiving fees, but something in which the county can assist with lowering some of the development costs for
Oh,
affordable
okay.
housing projects. And I asked her if that would include inside of the city of Manitou, because sometimes when it's county money, it has to be only in county, but she said these funds were could be used in the municipality.
Wow. Yeah, that would be great. And I think those are like, that's sort of what we learned from the developer last month, Crystal, is that there's a lot of barriers to developing affordable housing well, nationwide, right? But Manitou.
And I think it would be good to invite some developers that have experience doing affordable housing. because that other group, they share that they've never done affordable housing before. So I think that definitely needs to be somebody who has some more expertise
Yes.
than what they have.
Yeah. Yeah. And maybe that is like people like we can bring in Beth Ralsted and uh
I was
Pete
thinking of
Lee. I'm not Pete Lee. Who's with Agretio?
Lee Patke.
Lee Patke. Thank you.
And Commonwealth is a developer, Ted Goldmans, I think is his last
Okay.
name. But he has been working with a couple of places in, I think, Southeast Colorado Springs.
Okay.
And I think he would be interested in coming to talk to our group about what could be done in Manitou.
Awesome.
There's also Toby Gannett, who's a developer who's worked with affordable housing in Colorado Springs.
Oh yeah. Is that who we heard at Kiwanis, or that's someone else?
That's very possible.
Okay. Got it. So yeah, I think, yeah, just increasing our understanding because yeah, we aren't developers and we need to know, what are things that might increase those opportunities. And yeah, it's still a goal, right?
And I think DOLA has been changing some of the information with Prop 123.
Okay.
And or some so I think getting, I know that, was it Summer that used to be our representative? We have a new one. Her name's Erin McNabb, so it might be
Yes.
worthwhile to get a update from Erin on what's
Yep.
going on at that state level.
Yes, that would be great. Yeah, I had reached out to Erin because I was curious if he could provide any like pamphlets or brochures on Prop 1, and she said that was something that they didn't necessarily do and just referred me to the website. So, but the
And-
updates for sure.
Yeah, and maybe that's something that we could work on. And if we create, a pamphlet that makes sure, get it vetted by some of those folks to make sure that it's accurate.
Yeah, for sure. Good deal. Let me look here. Again, I'm going to just, let's see. Where is, let's see. Sorry, I was going to pull up the thing from our 20, when we did the little, where is it? Hold on. I think this might be it. When we had our, oh no, this is just I thought this was pulling up. I'm pulling up the wrong thing. I'm sorry, everyone. I was going to say if there was anything else from our retreat for 2025 goals, if you all can remember, if there was anything else we think we wanted to add. Nancy, can you remember anything that we might be missing that?
Not from your goals, but I was wondering, Allison, last year you had worked on the potential for a grant for a part-time or a full-time planner to help with survey of and so on. And I didn't, and at the time couldn't do that because planning department was having difficulties, challenges. So I didn't know if that was you wanted to pursue again, or I didn't know if Fred was interested in that, or if he, if that would be something he would support. I think in particular, the survey that they could do to really look at what affordable housing looks like in Manitou might be very helpful. It's always nice to have a baseline database.
Yes. Yeah. Fred, that was an opportunity that we could have applied with through Prop 123 funds. We'll have to find out if it's still available, but at the time, I think both Denise and Hannah felt like even like bringing on a new staff member is a lot of work and they weren't ready for it, which I understand. So I
So
don't
is-
know if that's something you'd want us to try to explore again.
yeah, so what would they, you're talking about to do a survey, bring on a planner, or bring on somebody to do, to do something specific, to do a specific task? Like, you're talking about do a survey of the city to what, to identify, something.
Yeah, I think we had talked in our retreat about trying to figure out, yeah, the was it the stock or the Nancy, help me remember.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember too. It's probably housing stock, but yeah, under Prop 123, there were a number of things that they could assist cities jurisdictions with. And one of them was this survey to get the baseline of what housing looked like. And I don't remember the specifics of it anymore. I haven't looked at it in about a year. So, but it was something that at the time I know looked very attractive on the surface until we got into the details and realized that the city just couldn't handle it for this year. But maybe it would be and it's probably just as well because Prop 123 has been so turbulent. And maybe now would be a better time, but I don't know, you'd have to look at it again.
Okay. Yeah,
Amy?
we can at
Sorry.
least look into that and see what's available,
Yeah.
terms of funding or funding or resources or something like that, and what's available to us.
Okay.
What,
And I
what,
think, yeah, I
what-
pulled up this is what we had talked about, item number 1, some of the things we had talked about from our retreat regarding 2024. So Amy, were you going to say
Yeah,
something?
I was just gonna say, mostly from this retreat, that Denise Howell was saying, there's not enough bandwidth with staff to really tackle any of this Prop 123 stuff. And to be honest, we can't even look at it till 2025. And so I think on the goals for 2025, we should just kind of outline how we want to approach funding opportunities or education for Prop 123 and present them to planning staff, because now we actually can, so maybe I think Crystal's right there, or rather Nancy or whomever said it, like Prop 123 is, they're running into some barriers, right? And
Yeah.
so even just outlining those barriers for city council and saying like, this is what other people have seen. I feel like now we actually have the green light to address some of these things. And that needs to be our main focus in 2025, because we have the permission from city staff, the city administrator. For me, like, we just keep redoing this rebate program, and I know we have really good intentions, guys, but
Yeah.
I didn't get on this board to work on rebate programs. And I know I always say why, but that's because I always come back to my why. I am here for affordable housing.
Yep.
That is what we keep hearing in these plan management surveys, is affordable housing. And so I feel like our jobs are to educate and update city council on these things. And then now we have the green light to make some substantial choices. And I think that's what we need to focus on. Sorry if I'm being.
No, it's true. I mean, I think where the energy efficiency like piece aligns is that it can help, right? Like we can't maybe just jump around.
I think there's a few tweaks here and there
Yes.
we can do, just like I said, with the, like, I want to apply for a rebate, just some real simple things,
Okay.
and then just let that program go until
Yep. Until it
funded.
ends.
And if it's not funded, it's not funded.
Got
But
it.
for the
Yep.
most part, I think our efforts should be focused on, just educating or advising
Yep,
council on um
increasing
the
affordable.
the landscape of Prop 123, because it is somewhat problematic. Like, I love Crystal's idea of bringing in not just people from like Homeward Pikes Peak, but like, let's bring in some developers that have had these barriers and have overcome these barriers and have still built
Yes.
affordable housing. And what advice do they have? What kind of, code improvements? I don't know. I'm just saying,
Yes.
like, let's do that work for city council so that we can say, hey, here's what they say.
Yep. Yeah, no, for sure. And I mean, and I don't know, Fred, like if this is like realistic, because I think planning commission just revised the code. And we know that it is hindering affordable development because of the height and density. I mean, can we can we put that as a goal to like continue to research it? But I mean, maybe it is just part of that, just what Amy said. It could develop reaching out to developers to find out, yeah, what is the reason that it would be too expensive to develop in Manitou? I mean, we know there's land issues, but we also know that when you can, um, level some motels or whatever they're not using, maybe there is more land than we know, but then what is the barriers?
Yeah.
What about, and I don't know, this may be too much or outside of our scope, but what about hosting like a panel discussion or something about the height? Because that is going to be that's a big community concern. It's in Colorado Springs, it's everywhere. Nobody wants to block the mountains. And I know, like, for me down on Becker's Lane, those buildings that
Yes,
went up
tall
that
buildings,
blocked
yes.
off all of the nice little the reasonable houses on the other side, like, that makes me crazy. But if it was affordable housing, I would be okay with it, but it's not affordable housing. And so, like, I feel like there could be some public education that we could do as well, because the city of Manitou has to balance out both, the politics of what community members want and what it needs to happen to be able to put in affordable housing. So I just wonder if that could be a goal.
I think that's a strategy to research, for advising the city council. But I think we need to, before we I like the idea of a panel, okay, of people who have actually gone through the process of gaining funding, perhaps, or even just like willing to come on a Zoom and say, you know, what I hear is like the people who got the funding had all their ducks in a row and everything, and they were the ones that were lobbying for the funding, and so the funding flowed to that river, right? And so I just want to say, like, okay, so that's what happened with that. I just want to present the information,
Yeah.
If we have to, whomever we have to pull in to investigate what the barriers are, great, let's do it.
Okay. So yeah, so I think like what you said, the goal would just be, yeah, outline strategies for what, like, increasing
Affordable
affordable housing.
housing.
Well,
Yep.
and what you're talking about is I'm trying to kind of get an idea of sum up everything that's been discussed. What you're talking about is advancing the discussion of affordable housing and the importance of it. And you're doing this in a number of different ways. Number one, education. Number two, asking experts to come into the city and provide presentations or provide a presentation to the board. You can host that, and where you can have a dialogue with them and find out in general what types of barriers are there and what types of things Do they like to see when they're looking for sites for affordable housing sites or something like that? But it's that general keeping the conversation going, and
Yep.
that's what keeps the education flowing. And the people who will listen to that will listen to it, and other people won't. But at least you're keeping the dialogue going, and so it's out there. And you could even, I would have to talk with Denise about this a little bit, but maybe you want to invite the city council to one of your meetings to hear some of this information or something like that. I don't know if that's a possibility or not.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, so then just to sum it up, I mean, we'll have a bunch of little things that we had talked about underneath, but like you said, it's just, yeah, continuing to advance the conversation around.
So so I've written down a whole lot of notes here. If you'd like, Allison, let Zach and I put together this list of accomplishments and list of goals, and maybe we can shoot it out and make sure it says what you all want it to say.
Okay, that would
And
be great.
yeah, and if that's good, we're good to go. If more discussion needs to be had, then we can always if you have any input, or if anybody has any thoughts about the goals, once we've written them down, feel free to send those to us, to staff,
Okay.
and we can do some tweaking.
Okay, but no, I think those were, yeah, you can sort of, like you said, summarize, but yeah, we're really just get that rebate, that energy efficiency,
Yeah.
marketing, kind of clear that path. Really, the main focus is just on continue to advance affordable housing opportunities through Prop 123, and then you have that list of things. Was there anything else on these brainstorming things that we'd want to add besides those items? Do we want to still be looking at rental licensing, or I think that's like the main thing, because everything else is sort of related to.
I think you've got a lot.
Yep.
We're going to have a lot of goals down.
Okay. Good deal. All right. I don't think we need to vote on anything. Nancy, yes?
Yeah, thank you. Just in listening to your discussion, I just wanted to make a couple of comments. One
Yes.
is we got our budget book last week, and one of the charts in it shows the demographics of the city. And if we look at the young people, the very young people, this is such tiny print, but 15 to 19 is a fairly healthy age group. There's a significant number of kids in that age group, but then you get down to the 10 to 14 and the 5 to 9 and below 5. There's very few kids in Manitou, which is really gonna have huge impacts on our school, which scares the heck out of me. And my sense is that is a function in part to affordable housing. I don't know that for a fact, but I would have to assume that. So I think you might want to get the demographics and point that out as well. I find that critical. If we lose our school, we will lose our community. I mean, that's such a huge part of the community. And secondly, another approach to the developers is just come up with a brief questionnaire, and you can even just call them with a few questions and just call, what are the barriers, and call them and just fill out so it's standardized across all of them. And that's just another avenue to get probably some good valuable information. So I just wanted to share those points as I was thinking as you guys were discussing this. Thanks.
Awesome. Sounds good. So we'll just, I don't think, we don't necessarily need to vote on this, do we? We just agreed
No,
on
if,
them. Awesome.
I would say if there's, ask for any objections. If there are no objections,
Yeah, okay.
then
All
we'll move
right.
forward with putting these goals down on paper and send them out to the group.
All right. Do I hear any objections, Amy and Crystal? None heard. All right. Thank you for putting those together.
Yeah.
So I said I wanted to end on time, but I have a couple, let's see one more thing. I just needed staff. Does it say staff an update?
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
probably.
any reports, staff reports, planning and staff reports, Nancy?
I could give a quick update if you want.
Okay.
We did review, we spent it all day Saturday reviewing the budget for 2025. And currently we have a very healthy reserve of almost $6 million. But that could go very quickly depending on how Colorado Springs ends up going with the marijuana vote. We had an update on Hiawatha Gardens last night, and that could change dramatically what the original plan was. So keep an eye on that if that's something you're interested in. We are raising, and this is another thing that's going to hurt with housing because it's just one more bill. We've got to raise the sewer and water rates, and fairly significant increases. So, one more bill that people are going to have. You saw probably that we're going to do speed cameras. We had an update on Plan Manitou. We're doing a lot of work on the water treatment plant. We also we're developing a natural medicine ordinance, which means mushrooms, basically. And there's a misunderstanding that, the city is doing that on our own, but we're not. It was voted on. It was a citizens initiative at the state level. The state is imposing it upon all the jurisdictions in the state. And the only control we have is like the hours, the days it can be open, and things like distance from schools and things like that. So just be ready for that. We've got to have that done by the end of the year. And then we looked at special tax districts. So those are it's been actually a pretty busy month for us. So does anyone have any questions for me? And I just want to say I'm really excited that you guys are meeting again. I think, and I'm excited about the goals you set, because I think that this is just such a top issue for our city. And it really makes me very nervous about that our housing prices just keep going up and up and up. And it's just so, normal people just can't. I also tell you that a couple of the city council members mentioned that they don't understand what affordable housing means. So you might want to actually define that for them. And I will also tell you that a couple of people have expressed interest in having another session on ADUs. So people are a bit more open to at least listening about ADUs now, which I find encouraging. So, and because I think that last year with our survey, our community survey, and then this year with Plan Manitou, affordable housing keeps coming up. So I think people's council is beginning to recognize that this is a serious issue for our city. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Good. That's awesome. Yeah. And I think with that, maybe just lumping that in somewhere, is it, any affordable housing solution we want to be looking into, and that could include the ADUs that we've been, pulling along HAB since the beginning. So.
Yep, exactly. I talked with our attorney a little bit about ADUs and the legislation that was passed last year,
Mhm.
and so I told our attorney that I would look into more about how the city's code does or does not allow for ADUs, and kind of compare it with what the legislation I guess maybe compelling us to do, and then come up with some potential alternatives for us to consider. or for the city to consider regarding that. But ADUs are widely known as a maybe more palatable alternative to large apartment complexes or things
Yeah.
like that for affordable housing, because you can intersperse the ADUs among, around a community. So I'm going to be exploring that with our attorney.
Okay, yeah, we have a lot of research that we've done on that topic, so, let us know. We found that the like attached ones, somebody redoing their garage or their basement, or, like that's another awesome opportunity to age in place. So I will
Yeah.
leave it at that. All right.
But other
You guys actually had a draft ordinance a couple, 2 or 3 years ago, didn't you? That you had
That's
prepared.
right.
So Fred, there's a lot of information, I believe, on the HAB website, if you can get to it, that I think will be very helpful for you as you research this.
okay, that's good.
Yes.
Thank you.
So yeah, you can add that to, again, it's just any affordable housing opportunity.
Well, I was just gonna say, according to HUD, housing that costs no more than 30% of a household's gross income, including utilities, is the definition.
Yeah. So more education, Amy. We'll just have to keep pushing that along the way. So
And like I said before, I think when Plan Manitou is complete, it will have, it'll identify those strategies and goals for the city to move towards, so I think that's also a good first step for this board to do, is to look at that when that draft comes out, and make any comments or recommendations, because that will help determine the direction that we all go in on into the future. So, and that's one of the planning department's goals for next year, is of course is to get that completed. We hope to get that completed maybe March or April timeframe.
excellent. All right. We will adjourn here, 6:34. Rebecca and Glenn, you guys can give me a call if you want to connect and have any questions. But like I said, Glenn, I put in your letter of recommendation, and then Rebecca, if you just want to give me a call, even
What
right after
time?
this.
After this in a minute, that's
You
fine.
want to just give me a call?
Yes, ma'am, I will in a couple minutes.
Okay, that sounds
All right, thank
good.
you.
All right,
Thank
Amy,
y'all.
Crystal, Fred, Rick, Fred, do you go by Fred?
Fred, yep,
Fred and Zachary, or Zach?
Zach's fine.
Zach, okay, whatever, I wouldn't be, but thank you all for your time and appreciate it.
Thank you.
See you next time. Bye.